Fantastic. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another exciting day of the Pyreswap show. First of all, I want to say hello, or good morning, or good afternoon to everyone I can see in my audience real quick. Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, chat. Good morning, Zonic. Good morning, Zero. Let's see. On Twitter, let's take a look. Good morning, Mr. Good Project. Yeah, good morning, I think, Zero Kex. Good morning. Okay, fantastic. I'm going to stick with this policy of saying good morning to as many people who are here in the first minute. And today is Friday, and I think this might be, I guess we have some announcements to make, and these announcements involve changes being made to the Pyreswap show for next week. We will be variegating the time slots that we do the show. So on Mondays, we will not be doing it at the normal time, but a couple hours later. I'll be making an announcement for that official time. On Thursdays, we'll be changing the time as well. And we're not going to necessarily make the focus me demonstrating the Incantation Witch Vault because we're still going to be doing that multiple times a week. But rather, we're going to make Monday macro Mondays, and I'm going to talk about macro econ probably for the week, forecasting perhaps. And on Thursdays, we're going to talk about theory, which is kind of like the basic things of finance and economics. There might be other themes that show up as well. Most of the shows will remain the same though. And I want to say that first of all, I want to really address everybody, and I think I want to, give praise to our community because of how emotionally resilient and consistent the community has become. I think you can look around at a lot of other Web3 projects, and whatever the price chart is doing, that is what's dictating the emotional state of the entire user base. Does that make sense? Like if the price chart is up, they're all happy. And if the price chart is down, they're all sad because of how, I guess you could say, economically or economically unsophisticated some of those products are. And we don't have that problem. We don't have that problem. We don't have people reacting to the way that the chart moves one way or another. Yeah, like some days prices are up. I think one of our coins is up 20%, 14%, or something like this over the last couple hours. And everybody is pretty consistent. They are bullish, not just in the current moment, but in the not just in the present, but in the future as well. And I wanted to really address and thank everybody for that, honestly. Yeah. I feel like we're really planting the seeds of just like an amazing community, and probably more than a community, kind of like a movement within Web3 and DeFi, of course. Now, for Friday, I haven't really decided the theme yet. So we're going to still have this time slot, I think Friday and next Friday. And what I can do is I can demonstrate active staking for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, if we do happen to have people who are new. But I can also go into, I can talk more about finance, which is something I could talk about that I was doing yesterday. I could talk perhaps about futures. I think I'm going to keep talking about the way to, I think I want to go over the same stuff I did yesterday concerning options and how to build them in a ledger economy. And the first thing I want to talk about again is the concept of the ice cream trucks. Okay, so Phithe's ice cream trucks, and if you does my camera switch to the whiteboard one? Can I get a camera switch to the whiteboard? Oh, by the way, the Pyreswap show is sponsored by Pocket. I'm gonna tilt it so it's not glared, right? Does that make sense? Okay. So we're gonna talk about Phithe's ice cream trucks, okay? And I just keep naming it after myself because when you do that, everybody knows you're talking about specific ice cream trucks. Now, does everyone remember, who here remembers the configuration of Phithe's ice cream trucks? Who here remembers me talking about this maybe just a few days ago? And can you guys hear me on, am I audible on Discord? Can Discord hear me? Fantastic. Okay. Who here remembers the configuration of the ice cream trucks in this allegory, in this example, in this concept? Yeah, there you go. Okay. Zero Kex is correct. We have truck one. We have truck one that sells vanilla ice cream. And then we have truck two, which sells chocolate ice cream. And then we have truck three that sells vanilla and chocolate ice cream. Now, when we think about the ice cream trucks in this configuration, we're really just describing what they sell as a product, right? We're describing their products. But this is not these are not what the values offered. Does that make sense? These are the products offered, but not the values offered. And I'm going to differentiate that now here as well with another color. These right here are again, here, I'll actually. Products offered. Down here, we're going to talk about the same trucks. And here, we're going to talk about the values offered. Because when we look at the products offered, we see that this truck has one product and we have it with one value offered. And we see that truck number two also has chocolate, one product offered, and one value offered. But truck three offers vanilla and chocolate. So do we assume that it also offers the exact same amount of values as its products? The answer is no. The answer is no. Because it offers vanilla, it offers chocolate, it offers V and C, and it offers V or C. And this right here is a demonstration, just as a model, as an allegory, of the idea of value creation in the exponent. We are quadratically creating value for the customer. Because it's not just the fact that they sell ice cream, or that you can get that they sell one ice cream or another. It's the fact that on certain days, a customer, they might go to the same ice cream shop every week. Let's say a person goes to the same ice cream truck every single week, right? And they normally get vanilla, but then on a certain day, they decide they don't want vanilla. Does that make sense? And they can choose chocolate. So this truck number three has another value that is actually intangible. It is the choice. And this intangible value is actually also where the financial instrument known as an option comes from. Does that make sense? The option, the V or the C, this right here is something that can be turned into a financial instrument. And in fact, it does. V and C is the combination. You can buy both vanilla and chocolate ice cream. Or you can buy V or C. So this is 1, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So the more products they offer, if it's the same, I guess you could say, type of product, the idea that you have options between them creates value in the exponent. What do you guys think happens if truck number three also starts offering strawberry? Do you guys want to see? Does everyone understand how exponential value is produced, as offered? Okay, let's look at what happens if truck number three offers strawberry. I'm going to have to completely erase the board for this. start with like this color. So number 3 now offers vanilla, now offers chocolate and strawberry. And again, their product count is 3. Everybody follows that? Their product count is 3. But what if we start actually quantifying the values they offer now? And I'll separate this with a line. You've got vanilla, you've got chocolate, you've got strawberry. Now you have vanilla or chocolate. You've got vanilla or strawberry, right? And you've got chocolate or strawberry. Does that make sense? You already have 6. Then on top of that, you've got vanilla and chocolate. Then you've got vanilla and strawberry. And then you've got chocolate and strawberry. But wait a minute. There's even more now, isn't there? There's even more. Because now you can get vanilla and chocolate and strawberry. Oh yeah, there's actually 10. 0. Yeah. If you want to look at it that way. Yeah. Because also, on top of that, you have the options exponentially between the pairings. Does that make sense? Because you could get vanilla and chocolate, or you could get vanilla and strawberry, right? It really gets innumerable, like if you keep scaling up. But I'm going to explain that it actually goes more than 9. Like if I talked about it like, okay, you know, if 1 squared is 1 and 2 squared is 4, then literally 3 squared is 9, right? And no one's really blown away by this. But the fact of the matter is that like through options, you can continue to create value into the cubic, not just the quadratic. Does that make sense? In the Black-Scholes-Merton model for option pricing, they do talk about not just the cubic, not just quadratic exponents, but cubic exponents as well. That make the volatility of things like options go to the fucking moon. Am I making sense, everybody? Okay. So now you have a 10th choice, and then if you wanted to 0, you could turn this into a matrix where you have like, yeah, exactly. Then you also have right there, like you have V and C or V and S. Does that make sense? Like you can keep subdividing them as far as like the idea of a choice goes. Now, it isn't an exact number here because not everybody when they consider values, do they understand all the choices in front of them. Does that make sense? So when it comes to considering what options you have in front of you, not everybody arrives at the same conclusion about everything they have to pick from. Now sometimes in marketing, believe it or not, you don't want to sell too many things sometimes in certain business models because it can cause decision fatigue or indecision in the customer. I want to say e-commerce stores suffer from this a lot. So certain e-commerce companies, they don't want to offer too many things that solve the same problem. Quite often, like for instance, with software as a service, they generally offer like 3 to 4 tiers. Have you guys seen this? They offer 3 to 4 tiers because it helps people make a choice. So there's other business models like ice cream shops, like Baskin Robbins, where you can have up to 31 flavors. But the point being is that from the choices between those flavors, you have, and the combinations between them as well, you in theory can have just a ridiculously exponential amount of values offered. Hoping this makes sense, everybody. And because of this, I could talk a little bit about exotic options and the fact that there is more types of things. What I think I'm going to talk about today is I'm going to talk about the utilities of Pyreswap and understanding them as exotic options. So I'm going to now erase all this. And if you guys have any questions about that ice cream truck model, please DM me, or you can write it out in general chat. Does everyone at least understand the concept that I am trying to convey about the values offered from offering more products? How you instead exponentially create more value when you offer more products? The exponential, yeah. And by the way, this is also why the best way to create more value for a token is give it more things that care about it. I don't know how to make this easier. If we wanted to talk about crypto for a second, if you can make more things that care about a token, that token is going to become more valuable, right? You can create more things that care about the token, or you can create more people that care about the token doing that thing. This is the basics of utility value as it applies to blockchain and crypto. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so for instance, we have a terminal utility for 2 ohm. Does that make sense? Let's talk about the token 2 ohm that everybody knows and loves, right? 2 ohm. 2 ohm has one utility, right? And the fact that you can meet it, right? Meeting. However, for those of you who don't know, 2 ohm also had an arcade game built for it, right? So, if you were looking for 2 ohm as a financial instrument and you wanted to figure out ways that you could make money, indeed, yes, 2Pace Invaders, I believe was the name, Jeff. We still have that repo. We have that, or the repository for that is retainable. But let's just say it's an arcade game. For those of you who don't know, Phase 3 of Pyreswap will in fact have arcade games with jackpots for them, simply for creating new value out of the token. And these arcade games have jackpots too. So you score really well in this arcade game and you can in fact win money. Does that make sense? Now, in order to win the money, you have to have the money. Does that make sense? So the fact of the matter is, when 2 ohm only has meeting as a utility that can create value for it, that does create some sort of value for 2 ohm. If you look at the price of 2 ohm now, and you compare it to where it did not have utility at all, 2 ohm did very, very well from the increasing of utility for it. Does that make sense? All of these tokens in later phases of Pyreswap, their value can also be increased in the exponent, because not only do you have these products, right? These right here are the 2 products. But then of course, when you get into the value offering, you now have Mead, Arcade, Mead or Arcade. I guess you can't Mead and Arcade, but maybe you can. But I think the fact of the matter is, that if Pyre Phantom has an arcade, then Mead and Arcade. Does that make sense? Because if you Mead 2 ohm for Pyre Phantom and then Pyre Phantom has arcade, then you can Mead an arcade. Does that make sense to you guys? For those of you who actually understand how meeting works, right? So if Pyre Phantom had an arcade game, which it probably will, by the way, if it might have several. All of these tokens might have several arcade games. Meeting to play an arcade game creates exponential value behind meeting. Does that make sense? Because you don't just have meeting to arcade. Also, you can also go from meeting to the IWV or meeting to go to another arcade game. Does that make sense? So now you have these sequential, or I guess you could say derivative utilities from the first action taking place. Does that make sense? So you're just kind of creating more and more value behind the token itself that creates more volume for it, and then also creates a higher trust for it. Does that make sense? Because people don't hold on to things that they're not going to use. But if people are waiting to use something, they will hold on to this thing. Hoping that makes sense. Especially people will hold on to it if they expect that it has future value. So that right there, I'm just going to explain how creating more utilities for a token creates more value for it, right? When 2 ohm's price goes up, eventually it touches peg and then it will begin printing. That right there creates value for the share token. Does that make sense? Okay. So when we talk about options, I want you guys to now understand that an option is like any sort of thing that gives you a choice, right? Like when you make it an instrument, It is an agreement that you're paying for where you reserve the right to make this choice, right? You're paying for the reservation of the right, but you do not necessarily need to exercise it. You are just buying the rights to make the choice. Okay? Following? That's from, John C. Hull. For those of you who don't know, the 11th edition of Options, Futures, and Other Derivatives. Which camera am I on? Here? Okay. Options, Futures, and Other... Well, you can't read that. Okay. Okay. So, when we talk about options and whether or not there's a way to make them happen in DeFi that is, canonically correct according to the laws of a ledger economy, I need you to understand the IWV. This is an option to collect yield. Exercised by active staking. Does that make sense? So this is an exotic option because it has a time-based contingency, meaning we don't, there's a penalty for exercising this option too early. Does that make sense? Do you guys understand? This is an option that with an exercise penalty attached. Exactly, Jeff. Exactly. So then the yield option right there creates its own aftermarket. Correct. Because we have this yield option, an option to collect yield. Now this option, the exercise this option, has a penalty. That penalty is the risk of smoldering. Does that make sense? So if you exercise too early, you might in fact pay a fee. Let's put it that way. Does it make sense? Does that make sense? You pay a fee when you smolder because effectively speaking, when you exercise early, it's like basically you're paying a fee whenever somebody's exercising behind you. Making sense? And then additionally, the terms of this option is that it can only be exercised at the exact moment yield is being distributed. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, this is not like European options. European options, they can only be exercised on their expiry. Does that make sense? Just like the IWV, it can only be exercised at the end of an epoch, right? You can exercise it early, but I fucking wouldn't. Yeah, there's no point in doing it. Yeah, you're just going to be staked in there passively pending, and everyone else is going to be stampeding you with smolders. Hoping that makes sense. Does everyone understand that the IWV is an option to collect yield? It's not an option to buy or sell. It is an option to collect yield. Does that make sense? Indeed. Indeed. They some people, Jeff, they exercise early. Right? They're I don't hate that people do this. I wish they read the warning label. For those of you who don't know, we have a gigantic orange warning label on that emoji exactly. For those of you who don't know, we have a gigantic orange warning label on the Incantation Witch Vault, which is the stake page of Pyreswap.finance. And the reason we have this orange warning label is because this is not the staking that you're familiar with. This is active staking and not passive staking. Active staking is staking that you don't really want to... You don't want to look away from what you're doing when you're actively staking. You are doing it right there. I think both eyes on what you're doing. You want to be able to transact and change transactions and do something else pretty rapidly. And this is basically how it works. And this is the option. For those of you who don't know, by the way, you also have the option to not exercise yield. Does that make sense? Sorry, not collect yield. Because Pyre Phantom, Pyre Gas, it always has that option available to it. But it's only really profitable to exercise once every 6 hours. At the ultimate minute, as it were. Right? So that token always has that option in it. Right? This is also where we create the velvet rope pattern, for those of you who don't know. The velvet rope pattern is the implied volatility of the option to collect yield being exercised. Okay? Just making sense. When the option is there to collect yield, the token is in the money because holding the token is profitable. When there is no yield to collect, it is out of the money. And therefore it behaves as if it is approaching being in the money and then departing into being out of the money. So you have, in theory, this this volatility smile. And since it's a sequence of volatility smiles, we call it the velvet rope pattern. You don't see it too much in Genesis, but you will see it. You will see it quite soon. And for people who've been with us for several months, they are familiar with seeing it in other places. Okay, so the IWV is like an option that's embedded into the Pyregas token. Now, meeting is also an option that is embedded because it's effectively the option to consolidate debt. Option to convert. So meeting is a convertibility option where you have the option, which is also time locked, gated, and limited. It is time locked, gated, and limited, and it is the option to convert one token for another token. Now, the option value of this utility only shows up when the convertibility is profitable. Obviously, does that make sense? But the option to convert is what creates the underlying instrument value for coins like 2 ohm, 3 ohm, Z ohm, DIBS, Frozen Tomb, and Snow Tomb. I think meeting and Meterage might be like a topic for another day. I don't know if anybody here doesn't know about them. We can cover and focus more on meeting and Meterage back when it is more profitable to do so. Right now, meeting is not profitable, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's not profitable because the tokens for the tokens that have the option to convert are definitely up. They're definitely up from where it would be profitable to do so. Okay. Anyways, let's see. Does anyone have any questions so far? Let me take a look. We're eventually going to get it so that we have the ability to have all questions from all platforms, whether you are on Twitch or Kick. If you're watching this on Twitch or Kick or any other streaming platform, and you're not able to chat with me, and I'm not able to see your chat, please join our Discord. If you don't have our Discord link, you can go to pyreswap.com, Pyreswap.com, and in the footer of that page will be a link to our Discord. I'm also able to see questions on Twitter as well. And we're still configuring this, so we appreciate your patience. Let's see. I have 2 minutes. Okay. I don't think I'm going to play this round because I just wanted to keep talking about theoretics even though it's not Thursday. An option, like an option instrument, when we talk about calls and puts, an option to buy, right, at a strike mostly, and a put is an option to sell at strike. And when you buy an option, you're just buying one of those agreements. Like these are agreements getting issued and they're getting turned into an instrument, meaning there are things that can create an aftermarket. So I went into detail yesterday about why options have exponential value change for the same underlying, for a much smaller underlying change. Do you guys want to see that math again? I'll do it on request, but that seems like something I would do on Thursday. No one's talking to me right now because they're all playing. That's great. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, well I hope you guys are winning. Let's see some screenshots. Yeah, okay. So this is the ultimate minute. This is the ultimate minute at the top of the hour here. 6 hours. Every 6 hours this happens. And yeah, this is in fact the option to collect yield for the IWV. 420,000? Not bad. Not bad. Yeah. And Jeff, like it's you see it stampede in. You see it just stampede in. It's crazy to watch. That's another reason we're trying to have more chains. I guess you could say, wrap their heads around this. The level of knowledge that our Phantom community has is, I think, at this maybe 5 to 15 times more than the rest of the chains. I wish it wasn't so asymmetrical, but yeah, exactly. And I think the Phantom Opera as a chain, it has that DeFi, that true DeFi chain type of vibe. I guess it has that in its like bones, right? And that might have to do with the fact that Kanye, before he built Phantom, he was a DeFi dApp dev, right? So the fact that Kanye has built for DeFi, I think that might have something to do with Phantom having that culture. And yeah, sorry, I sat down. Okay. Anyways, I can. Yeah, this is fine. This is fine. I think where I'm at is fine. Yeah. I might. Yeah, I think it's fine. Okay. I don't think they're complaining about where I'm at in frame. Yeah. The night's not blocking the thing. They can still see most of me. Yeah. Well, yeah, Lesio, that's a very, very large amount of token for just those few people. I mean, I'm not mad about it. Yeah, Alessio, Friday is like the day before the weekend, and sometimes people are just checked out. Yeah. Yeah. And you're yeah, no, that's not a problem. Yeah. It's you can in fact get the real data, as it were, but like we have this uptick, right? There was an uptick in like liquidity depth. I think the price of Pyre Phantom went up, and then I heard that liquidity deepened everywhere because people compounded in. As soon as the price went up, everybody was deepening liquidity because they saw the APR go up. Yep. Arguably, yeah. Even with 9 or 10 people playing, I think for a newbie, it's still daunting. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. We're going to keep doing this on camera. I'm going to keep playing the IWB on camera at least a few times a week. On Friday, we might be doing 2 shows later, maybe next week. I don't know if we're going to. Yeah, Jeff, that worries me. I don't know if we're going to do 2 shows on Friday, but yeah, what it would be is it would be in this time slot and then maybe 6 hours from now. So maybe 1 much later. This would be to capture audience. I don't know. Yeah, I noticed. But sorry, I'm talking to Jeff. Jeff is saying this time is the Jeff time, and I'm saying, Jeff, I didn't notice that this time was the Jeff time. And yeah, but Jeff. And for Jeff and for everybody else, we are going to variegate the times at which we do the Pyreswap show because we want to effectively spread ourselves out over the day. So maybe it'll just be like an afternoon show. Well, sorry, I'm in North America, so an afternoon show would be maybe like 3 or 4 hours after now. Yeah, and the goal would be like a close of business show for Friday, right? So the markets are closing, and that's when we would target. On Monday, we're gonna be on Monday, we're gonna be closer to the business day for North America because, yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, that's good chat to have there for sure. Yep, that is Jeff saying he's gonna spread himself, and we appreciate that a lot, Jeff. And for Monday, yeah, again, Monday is now Macro Monday. Very exciting. I'm going to go back to doing the type of content. For those of you who've been following me for a few years, if you remember me doing content called the State of the Market Addressed, also known as the SOTMA, if you guys have been waiting and drooling and pining for the SOTMA, if you guys have been doing that, Monday, sorry. Thank you. Monday, we will be doing Macro Mondays, which will have more of a SOTMA type of content. Yeah. And yeah, Sundays we'll still play the IWV. I think in this time slot we might as well. Wednesdays and Tuesdays probably also. Tuesday I think will stay the same. Wednesday will also stay the same. But it might be Monday, Thursday, and Friday that will change. Yeah, that makes sense. And we'll be making an announcement about those changes. We'll be making an announcement about those changes soon, very soon. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, should I spin all the way this way? That's great. Yeah, I bet I look completely wrong on another camera, but yeah, this is fantastic. We need to get that tally light. Okay. Okay, so believe it or not, we had a marketing meeting today in the Seigniorage Circus, and we actually outlined a plan about the way we're going to approach marketing, at least for YouTube appearances. And I basically explained to everybody that marketing, which is also quite theoretical, works best when you approach it stochastically, the same as if you were trying to boil a pot of water. So the fact of the matter is, me next to a whiteboard. Yeah, I guess you could just blank that out and put anything there now. Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, okay, I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Yeah, anyways, yeah. So the whole point of this is that I want you guys to understand something. I would rather have 100 videos. I'd rather have 100 videos by... I would have 100 videos come from 100 YouTubers that all have 5,000 subscribers than to have one video come out from one YouTuber with 500,000. I hope that makes sense to you guys, okay? I'd rather have 100 videos from 100 small guys than to have one video from one guy that's 100 times bigger. And the reason being is that it allows our awareness campaign to become more multi-vector. It allows information about our project to come from more sources that communicate in a higher variety of ways. And effectively speaking, we have now implemented a strategy to actually begin making this happen. So I'm not going to effectively get too into detail about what we're doing, but the goal really is if we could be announcing 15 videos a week, that would be great. Does that make sense? If we were getting covered by even 7 a week, right? If we were even covering 7 videos a week from smaller YouTubers, I think that would be what pays the most dividends, as opposed to just one video dropping from a gigantic channel and then that same channel just goes to shill something else in 2 days. Does that make sense? I think that smaller channels are going to work harder, and I think larger channels are just not. And I think that right there is the I think arguably everything we've done with Pyreswap so far has been very, very grassroots, and I think that is part of our theme. And I think organization and teamwork have also been core ingredients in this whole mission about the Seigniorage Circus and even things like terminal utility. And so I think that was kind of the missing component in my approach to marketing back in May. And now that August is, we are starting to uptick our marketing again. We have leveled up our entire approach to it. Obviously, you can see that we are leveling up our content production as well. And soon enough, we are going to have our marketing and our content production so systemized, it's going to be like an onslaught of Pyreswap marketing and content all the time. You guys are going to be waking up covered in sweat that you're getting from all of the Pyreswap content we're beaming directly into your house. Does that make sense? We are going to raise the temperature in your own bedroom from the amount of Pyreswap content we are going to put on the internet. We will personally be lagging Twitter. I don't know if that's true, but you know what? Aim for the moon, right? Aim for the moon. So even if you miss, you'll over market the shit out of your project. And on top of that, I want you guys to understand that if like a large channel shills your project and there isn't like a whole bunch of other vectors happening at the same time, yeah, there you go, a DDoS attack. If there isn't a whole bunch of vectors happening at the same time, all this will accomplish is a pump and dump. Does that make sense? Like it'll be like a whole bunch of pumping and then a whole bunch of dumping, which happens every time like large channels shill a project. And we can't really fit into that type of promotion because we have a ecosystem with way more than one token. Does that make sense? Would you guys agree that we have way more than one token? And because we have way more than one token, I don't think a pump and dump suits us, and that's what I feel like we'd be paying for with larger YouTubers covering us. So I am going to organize, and really I mean we were going to organize. We're going to organize and implement a I guess you could say a chaotic variety of content and marketing vectors that are in fact all over the place, from billboards in Istanbul to business cards on 6th Street. Let's put it that way. And yeah, more on that later. Anyways, for the talented and amazing few of you that are still with us today on this gorgeous Friday in the summer, are there any other questions about anything? We'll be making an announcement maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe Sunday, and that will, in fact, it'll definitely be before Monday, and it will definitely address the new schedule for the Pyreswap show. We'll be moving probably 2 to 3 of the days, and yep, we're gonna get a larger scoop of attention with this type of content. So if I just okay, should I give them a meme? Should I give them a meme? Here, I'm gonna give you a meme template, okay, guys? Here. There you go. Okay. Did that work? Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the sentiment, Sugar. Thank you so much. Yeah, okay, that one's gonna be terrible. Okay. Should I do the there you go. Which one? Front? Okay. All right. Yeah, can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Does that make sense? Okay. I should definitely get a shirt that just says that. Does that make sense? Okay. Thank you guys so much for coming to the Pyreswap show. I'm gonna do my little salute out of here. We're good. We're good. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for coming. Bless you all. Bless you, every one of you. Goodbye.